how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I think this is the longest time I've gone without doing a book haul, and the books have been piling up as of late, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 in a stack. I have 4 boxes and another stack of books, and this time I divided them into whatnot purchases, bookshop purchases, and thrift store purchases. Hopefully we can go through them and you can see all the cool stuff that I have found lately. There's bangers in each pile, in each box, and I'm not sure where to start. I think we'll start with the smallest and the whatnot folks that I ordered from. I have some really cool stuff in here, like I said, and let's just get started. Trying to think if there's anything else I was going to mention to you. No, let's look at some books. First, I believe I ordered 3 from Sci-Fi Hi Guy, I believe is his name on whatnot. I'm going to link all the sellers that I bought from down below, so if you want to purchase from any of them, have connection to them. But this is Titus Alone by Mervyn Peake in this Valentine and big ol' vein down the side. But this is the only one I was missing of the Goingback trilogy. So that was a cool one to complete that collection. A couple of Valentine adult fantasies here. This is Double Phoenix by Edmund Cooper and Roger Lancelin Green. And as always, these Valentine adult fantasies just have insane cover art. I had not really heard of this one before, but yeah, just beautiful. And this is another Valentine adult fantasy, Hrolf, Kraki's Saga by Poul Anderson. Looks like a very Viking, Norse-esque fantasy of some kind. Those books just get more beautiful each time I look at them. I don't remember where I got several of these, but I'll try to call them out when I remember who I bought these from. I think this was from J Mustang. Disposable People. I can almost always tell it's J Mustang because of the really clean blue electric tape that he puts on his bags. That's kind of a signature of his. So, Jonathan, thank you for doing that. Always a nice, he packages his books well. This is a Tower novel. Looks like kind of like a medical science fiction, maybe a horror, a little bit of horror in there. I got this from, I believe, Brandon over at the Book Report. Jack Vance, The Killing Machine. I'm missing just the first Demon Prince's novel in DAW now. So, need to find it. I love this cover, though. Really cool. I haven't read any of the Demon Princes yet, but I plan on reading them. Got this also from Brandon over at the Book Report. Urth of the New Sun. The coda, I believe, to Book of the New Sun in this really clean tour. I have not taken the wrapping off, and I will not take the wrapping off because Brandon does such a good job at wrapping his books that I don't like taking them out of his packaging unless I'm going to read them. I got this on an eBay purchase because after I reviewed The Glass Hammer by K.W. Jeter, I had to go find Dr. Adder. In this, I believe this is Signet. And I've heard this book is nuts. And as much as I liked The Glass Hammer, I need to get to that one. I think this was a giveaway from Logan. This Joanna Russ, Picnic on Paradise. Joanna Russ, Picnic on Paradise. This was also from J Mustang. The Tomb and Other Tales. H.P. Lovecraft. Love those covers. Those I think they're 80s covers. Valentine. A couple of ones from Brandon. I think he was doing a buy one get one, so he had you pick a second book out of a stack every time you got one. This is The Shores of Kansas, and I live just next door in Missouri, by Robert Chilson. Great old school, kind of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle cover with that T-Rex there on the front. This is Brian Stableford's The Kingdom of the Beasts. That cover rocks too. And then also from Brandon, Alien Harvest by Robert Sheckley. I'm very into Alien, and not so much Predator, but Alien specifically. I've always adored, like some of you guys probably adored the first movies, the quirkiness of the other movies. But I plan on at some point to read some of these novelizations. Well, they're not novelizations, I should say. I think these are extended universe. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what they are, but I have several of them now, and at some point they will scratch the itch. Last one from Brandon. I ordered. I'm pretty sure these were from Brandon. Sorry if I'm if I'm shouting out the wrong person. This is the Secret Books of Venus 1 and 2 by Tanith Lee in the hardcover, believe book club edition. But I mean, that cover art is just, it's the same on the back, but it's just beautiful. I'm currently reading a Tanith Lee that a bunch of people in our corner of BookTube were talking about, and it rocks. She rocks. I just can't speak highly enough of Tanith Lee. These were from Tyler Tilsey. I'll put his name down at the bottom. Just got these the other day. We All Died at Breakaway Station by Richard C. Meredith, a book that is not common, but and not really talked about, but is I believe pretty important. And I would like to read it at some point. A couple of Octavia Butler, more modern Octavia Butlers. This is Fledgling in a trade paperback, larger trade paperback. I've just never been a fan of most of her like covers. The cover choices are always very, I don't know, Barnes and Noble-y, including this one. Not my favorite cover, but really cool. Lilith's Brood, the omnibus of the trilogy. Dawn, Adulthood Rights, and Imago. But you know what I mean? Like, great books that she has. Her cover's just kind of, I don't know, maybe I just haven't gotten a good cover. She's hard to find. So I try to get her everywhere I can. Oh, Sam heard a dog back there. Let's go through some thrifts next, and then I'll end with my bookstore pickups that I've gotten over the last several weeks, last month or so. I scored a haul. One day, I went and just did a run of thrift stores all across. I mean, I just hit every single one as I was kind of coming around the edge of our metropolitan area, and just hit every single one I could. And you'll know if you've done these thrift runs that some of them you strike out at, some of them you find absolute gold. And I walked in a couple of these places, and you spot a couple of vintage science fictions on the shelf, and you're like, oh, and it piques your interest. Man, it's very distracting, so I'm gonna wait. Those of you who have done thrift runs like these, I started figuring out kind of like which stores to hit, which ones not to hit. But this one, I specifically just hit everything I could in an entire day. It took me, I don't know, probably 6 hours of driving, going in, checking ones. I checked half the ones I checked I had never been in before. This is all pointless information. I'm gonna start over. If you've been on these kind of thrift runs, you'll know what I mean when I say like it gets the dopamine flowing when you walk in and you see some pretty uncommon vintage paperbacks or hardbacks, and you're just like, what else is here? And you start like your eyes kind of darting around the shelves. And I think at two specifically, I found absolutely incredible hauls. One of them was for sure somebody's collection that they had dropped off, and I got the cream of the crop. But let's go through it. Some of these will be just one-offs. I'll mention, I think, when I found a couple of the bangers. But I found a trade paperback of William Gibson's Spook Country. I was actually missing this Gibson, so glad I found it. There he is. There's the Spook Man. That sounds weird. This is Horror Writers on Horror Film Cut. Clive Barker, Anne Rice, Ramsey Campbell. I think there's just some like writing on horror films, so maybe some like commentary on horror films. I haven't really looked into this too much. Um, this is cool. A little insert for for Mars Attacks. There's photos in here. There's a big chunk ripped out of the front page, which sucks. But yeah, just a really unique book. I found not one, but two different copies of Consider Phlebas at two different thrift stores. One of which is a more modern Orbit trade paperback, and this one, which is an old Orbit. I think this is a UK. Both of them. No, that modern one's definitely not a UK. But yeah, this looks like a reprint. One of the reprints. Anyway, um, both are books I've been kind of keeping my eye out for because I don't know if I'm going to read it anytime soon. But Banks, when I feel like people go crazy for Banks. Found a couple of horrors here. This is Shatter, sorry, by John Farris. An old Tor horror. Torher. And Richard Matheson's Stir of Echoes. I think this is looks like a movie tie-in. Yep, novel that inspired the really new movie from Artisan Entertainment starring Kevin Bacon. I've not seen that. Stephen Brust or Brust, I believe it's Brust. Etheria, the cool dragon cover. These are not going to fit right here, so I'm going to have to move some of these. Jean-Paul Sartre. I don't know how to pronounce his name because I'm not French. I live in the middle of America, but this is No Exit and three other plays. I'm not really a reader of plays or drama like this, but yeah, I'm aware of No Exit, and I think it'd be interesting to read at some point. This is called Crota, Owl Goingback. I don't know what really this is, but it's the winner of the Bram Stoker Award, and it looks like some kind of like thriller, thrilling horror. Yeah, I thought it was unique, kind of cool. I found a Oprah's Book Club, I believe, first. Hey, look here. Yeah, first of The Road by Cormac McCarthy, which I thought was cool. These are a dime a dozen. You can find a lot of these at thrift stores, but I thought it was just funny that it was Oprah's Book Club. And that's a book I'm going to be reading soon. Luke and I are going to be reading it, so we'll see how that goes. This was a really cool find. I found this just the other day for 50 cents. The Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov in this Evergreen Black Cat book edition. I have never seen this before. It was kind of hard to locate online. I don't think these are particularly like rare, but the only one I could find of this cover, first Evergreen Black Cat edition, 1967, first printing. The only one I can find sold on eBay for like 30 or 40 bucks. So I mean, not that that's a decent find. I thought I was onto something like incredible. Turns out it wasn't. That's not like the most rare copy you could find or anything, but it's still a really cool find for 50 cents at a thrift store. At that same thrift store, I found the Tolkien Reader, a more modern one that's kind of the plasticky, shiny covers. I don't know if I have a copy of Tolkien Reader. I'm pretty positive that I do, but anyway. I found a copy of The Firm, a John Grisham like thriller that was made into a movie, but this is a first printing paperback, which I thought was cool. I believe Luke has read this. He said it was good, so we'll see. I'm not really that's not my kind of genre. Found a couple of Star Wars books. I don't know anything about them. I don't know. They were 50 cents. Where am I going to stack all these? We're making steady progress through these boxes, so hang with me. Just the other day, I went to a thrift store, and I'm going to sound kind of dumb here to some people, but I know $3 a book is not expensive. So that's a caveat to what I'm about to say. But I went to a Red Racks thrift store, and their books are just like blanket pricing of $3 for a paperback, $4 for a hardback. You don't get any kind of incentive for buying a lot. And so I found what was a lot of books that were vintage science fiction. Somebody dropped off their collection. I'm almost positive. Some of them weren't worth, like you could get them on Whatnot for $2 or $3, uh, and at a bookstore for $2 or $3. So I put quite a few of them back, and I was pretty disappointed because at any other thrift store, I probably could have gotten away with getting them for what they should be bought at a thrift store for, $1 or so. So to pay $3 per paperback here, I've only picked the really good ones, and you'll see. I found some really cool stuff, but it kind of let a little bit of the air out of the tires because I was just like, there's 40 more paperbacks in there that I want, but I'm not paying $3 a piece for them. It's stuff like Piers Anthony that you'd get kind of wherever, and I thought, you know, I thought I had found the gold mine, and I found a silver mine. Not quite as valuable, but still some cool stuff. This is The Vampire's Apprentice by Richard Lee Byers. The Zebra Horror with a really shiny cover in really pretty good shape. That looks kind of like weirdly pulpy. Anything if it says vampire in the title, I'm always just kind of like skeptical because I don't know. I don't know. The Green Eyes of Bast by Sax Romer. There were several Sax Romers. This one seemed to be the best. I only got just this one. Great cover, too. Look at that cool cover. That is kind of like a horror that I think, a cult horror that would be really cool. Here's a printing of Inherit the Stars, the red, when they switched to red. I think this is like a 20-something printing. 10th printing. So, not bad. Star Rigger's Way by Jeffrey A. Carver in the UK. This was maybe the find of the day, at least as far as like the most uncommon book. I'd not seen this before. It's a little bit bend. It's got a bend, unfortunately, but it's in pretty good shape. Found a super clean Masters of Eberron by Gordon R. Dixon. I've been looking for a nice copy of this because I really, really enjoy that cover. I don't know if it's a good book, but anyway, it's got a great cover. And I don't know about Gordon R. Dixon. Haven't read him. These were really cool. These actually might be the ones that I found that are unique. I searched on these because I didn't recognize the name Megan Lindholm, and they were coming up to be semi-valuable for paperbacks, and I was just like, what are these? So I looked them up and did a little bit more research at the store, at the thrift store, and these are Robin Hobb. These are Robin Hobb. These are written by Robin Hobb under a pen name, Megan Lindholm, and both are, I guess this is the first one and this is the second one, but we got Harpy's Flight and The Wind Singers with just great artwork. I think these are pretty it's that Robin Hobb fantasy that you've come to know. I have not read her, but these are both first Ace printings. And yeah, I thought those were super cool when I figured out that it was under a pen name. That's what the research and the knowledge of like consuming these books and watching book hauls and things like that. That's when it pays off, is you can spot stuff that has a certain quality about it, and then you can find out if it's really cool or not. And chances are it's probably cool in its own way. I don't shop for books just purely to get like cheap deals to resell them or something. But it's so satisfying when you get stuff like that at a thrift store, because very rarely will somebody pick that up knowing what it is, and you just feel kind of like you're vindicated. Like, I know something cool that not a lot of people know about, and that it just felt cool to find something like that. This is The Jagged Orbit by John Brunner in an Ace. Split spine, cool cover, pretty thick book, 1969. I thought that was pretty neat. I had not seen that copy before. This is Best Science Fiction Stories of the Year, Lester Del Rey. Pretty beat up, but it's got Ellison, Silverberg, Poul, Kornbluth, Brunner. Nifty little fantasy-esque sci-fi cover. The Prince of Morning Bells, Nancy Kress, in the really nice timescape. If it wasn't wavy, this would be near mint. I mean, it's super clean. It's got a little bit of edge wear and stuff, but it's beautiful. And it's a first pocket printing. So I don't know much about Nancy Kress. Haven't read her, but I thought that was neat. Then I found 3 hardbacks at this same thrift store. This one was cool because I love the novel, or I love the movie, and this is the novelization by Terry Brooks, Hook, with Robin Williams, the late great Robin Williams. If you've never seen that movie, I'm sure most of you have. The movie rocks. But this is a first edition, 1992. Like I said, written by Terry Brooks, based on the screenplay. So it was written in like after the screenplay, but still, I thought that was really cool, and I value that movie. Me and my brother watched that a ton when we were kids, being babysat. Robert A. Heinlein's Have Spacesuit Will Travel. I believe it's a book club, even though it doesn't say it on the inside cover because this little guy here, this little marker, doesn't say it like it typically does, but it says Athenaeum books for young readers. So I wonder if this is like one of his juveniles. Probably is. He wrote a lot of those. Harlan Ellison's Approaching Oblivion. I was stunned to find this. You just don't find a lot of Ellison, especially. I think this might be the only thrifted Ellison I've ever found. And maybe that says more about the areas I'm thrifting than it does about anything else. But that was one big box. I have another stack and another big box of thrifts. There is some insane stuff in this next box. They were hardcovers. Let me go through these paperbacks really quick, and then I will get this other box. Oh, please don't fall through. Thank you. Stacked everything I could. Let me go through these paperbacks relatively quickly because there's not anything crazy in here. And then I want to get to these hardbacks because they're awesome. This is Systems by W.T. Quick. This looks like a kind of 90s cyberpunk. I don't know anything about that one. But yeah. Battletech, I Am Jade Falcon. So it's $2 at a Savers. And I don't know anything about these, but there's got to be something to Battletech, right? People want to read those. Here's a really old Ace double from Gordon R. Dixon. Spatial Delivery and Delusion World. A really tiny one. These Ace doubles tend to... I know other people are big fans of them. I believe Jake over at Pulp Mortem really loves these old ones. I can't get myself to like they're great. They smell great, they feel great, but the pages just really come unglued easily on these. As with this one, where there's like a whole stack of like 30 pages here that's gonna probably fall out. So maybe that's an incentive to take care of your books. Here's The Abyss by Orson Scott Card. A novelization, I believe, of the movie from James Cameron. That was cool. I always pick up novelizations just because sometimes they can be worth a lot. And sometimes, like with that one, I really like The Abyss. So if I ever feel like reading the book, I have it. Here's a more modern Harper fiction of Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked This Way Comes. $2 at a Savers. Here's a first of Stephen King's Needful Things in paperback. Spoiler, there's a hardback that I found from another thrift store of this same book. First edition hardback that I thought was pretty cool. I don't know anything about Needful Things other than it's Stephen King. Found a couple of these enormous Robert Jordans. I'm sure you guys have seen these gigantic Wheel of Time books, but I picked up only the ones that were first printing paperbacks. I don't have any of these, and I don't know, like, this book is over 1,000 pages in a paperback. It's almost as tall as it is, like it's a box. But I don't have any of those, and I thought, why not start collecting those if I find at least first of the of paperbacks. So here's two more. A Crown of Swords and Winter's Heart. Love those old, like, I believe they're 90s, late 80s, 90s. That kind of cover art style, that kind of Game of Thrones style of the old paperbacks. Found a copy of Lonesome Dove. I covered this on the channel not that long ago. Most of you didn't seem to be interested in that, which is totally fine. It's not what I usually cover on the channel, but that's there if you are curious about it. All right, let's finish off these paperbacks. We're almost done with the thrift pile. I have like maybe 10 more paperbacks, and then I have a set of hardbacks from the thrift stores that are awesome. Here's Contact, Carl Sagan. A pretty important book. I believe he worked on Interstellar with Nolan, which I thought was cool. That I could be completely talking out of my butt, but pretty sure that he was like one of the scientists that was like asked to be a part of that. I mean, yeah, 1986. He definitely could have been alive. Anyway, Clive Barker, The Thief of Always. I think this is a juvenile like horror or juvenile like creepy, creepy book. There's more Clive Barker to come, so stay tuned for that. The Gates of Hell by C.J. Cherryh and Janet Morris with a great wraparound cover. These Banes of the 90s look so goofy sometimes. And I think they're meant to. I always say 90s. 1986. That was close. Kurt Vonnegut Jr.'s Wompeteers, Foma, and Grand Falloons. I don't know much about this one. Some people say that Vonnegut got worse as he aged, and I don't know about that because I've only ever read two of his books, Sirens of Titan and Slaughterhouse-5. But why does Slaughterhouse-5 not sound like the title to me? Every time I do one of these hauls and I'm like going through titles of books, sometimes I get that weird like mental block where I'm like, that's not what it's called, and it's totally like it's true. And you just get like you start doubting yourself because you've seen so many book titles here, trying to recall information and stuff. Speaking of recall to Life, Robert Silverberg for $1.49 from a Savers. I think I have an X library of that in hardcover. This is Photon, the ultimate game on planet Earth, a photon adventure novel, #1, For the Glory. I don't know anything about this. You can see, it's $1.49. So I got it. William T. Quick, I think, wasn't earlier this must be W.T. Quick. This is William T. Quick, Planet of the Apes: The Fall, for $2. I don't know what exactly this is, but it could be kind of a spawn of novels from when those 90s movies came out. Or I think that Mark Wahlberg was like the year 2000. Yeah, 2002. There's probably a big wash of books that came out after that. Lewis Cooper's Mirage. This is a UK. Cool. I said Lewis Cooper. Louise Cooper. Really beautiful cover art. I don't know much about these, but it's pretty UK. All right. I got hardbacks here. Some really nifty ones in here. Last paperback. Another Robin. This is an actual Robin Hobb. Fool's Fate. Big old. Hear that? A flop. Tons of flop. I think this is a first. No, it's not. It's a fifth. The Further Adventures of Sherlock Holmes from the Reader's Digest. These are common, but they're really pretty on the shelf. And I mean, it just feels good to have like a leather bound, like tough book you know is not going to get scuffed up. It's neat. All right, my stack's getting a bit wobbly over here, so I'm going to... Here we go. Here's William Gibson's Idoru. Idoru. It's a first. Yep, it's a first. I'm just got all the Gibson, I think, now. John Steinbeck's The Acts of King Arthur and His Noble Knights. Oh, this was a really cool thrift find. Steinbeck is somebody I really want to read soon. East of Eden, I think Luke and I are planning on reading. Here's where I got real excited. And neither of these are books I was familiar with, but they are first edition hardcovers. Clive Barker's The Damnation Game, a really creepy cover. Love this quote from Stephen King on the back. I have seen the future of the horror genre, and it is named Clive Barker. Yeah, both of these are firsts. I thought that one was really cool. I got these each for, I think, like $4. Clive Barker, The Great and Secret Show. Like a really interesting cover art. I don't know much about this, but it's just, if you do, please educate me. This is the first book of the art. And yeah, those were really cool to find, especially thrifting, because stuff like that, if you find it at like an actual bookshop, it's going to be priced more. So you feel really cool not paying very much for something like that. And then I think the crown jewel of the haul from that day that I went out and thrifted is a first edition hardback of The Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris. I saw it on the shelf and I was like, no way, right? And I looked in there, and sure enough, it is not a book club from the research I did. I'm always like 95% sure even after I do research, but this was so cool to find. I think this was literally like $3. And I couldn't like contain my excitement. It was so cool. That one was really neat to find at a thrift store. I found this really cool Godfather notebook from Regan Arts, and it's got a ton of like notes from the director and photos from the movie. It's I read The Godfather. Did I read it this year? Yeah, I think I did earlier this year. Maybe it was late last year, but I'm just like, I thought this was so cool for like $4, $3 or $4, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it, if I'm ever going to really use it. But after reading it and watching the movie, I thought this was a really cool kind of artifact, if you will, that I might look at someday. Here's that first of Stephen King's Needful Things. It was $5.50 because, of course, Stephen King's, everybody sees them and they price them a little higher than everything else at the bookstores or at the thrift stores. I'm pretty sure this is a first Viking, so that was cool. I need to figure out where I'm going to stack all these books because I've got a huge stack going here, and this is going to be a nightmare to like put away later. But we're going to do our best. Okay. Put this box over here, so hopefully I have a space. The last box I have is an enormous box of all of the bookshop finds I have gotten in the last month or so. And as I said, it's been a while since I've done a haul. I'm going to check and make sure we're still recording. We're at 35 minutes. Not bad. Not bad. I'm going to take a coffee break and be careful not to spill any. It's one of my favorite things to do when I haul is kind of put them away after I'm done and not really look at them until I do these videos. So hopefully it captures some of my excitement. I'm not quite as energetic sometimes as I usually can be, but some of this stuff just gets me so fired up some of the stuff, especially that I thrifted, that I'm like, I found that, like treasure hunting, you know? And same with some of these that I got from bookstores, because sometimes you'll get lucky at bookstores and they don't know what they have. And I don't mean that to be like I'm stealing from the bookstores, you know, trying to get books that should be priced up more. Like, I'm glad I'm swindling them, but it just pays to know, because, you know, especially at the chain ones, I don't feel as bad that they didn't realize that they had a really good book. And the reason that I'm saying that is I found 2 Tanithly Daws, Delusions Master and Night Sorceries. I think these were each like $1.50, and these are not $1.50 books. They're not like wickedly expensive, but people pay up for Tanithly, and this one's a 5th, this one's a 1st, but really cool. I found for just next to nothing. Always exciting when you do that. This one is called A Rose for Armageddon by Hilbert Schenk, in a timescape, with absurdly cool cover art. I don't know really anything about this one, so if you do, let me know. But it's got this air of like kind of horror. Like, yeah, I don't know. The stunning novel of love and science at World's End. So maybe not horror, but it just has a really, really intriguing cover. Really interesting looking. I found not 1, but 2 K.W. Jeter Blade Runner books. Oh, Sam scared me. He moved over there. Okay, the birds are out today. They're distracting me. Not 1, but 2 K.W. Jeters. This is Replicant Night, the first one, and then I think the sequel, The Edge of Human. I'm a huge Blade Runner guy. These will be read at some point, especially knowing K.W. Jeter is just a great writer. I found a Playboy press of A Feast Unknown by PJF, Philippose Farmer. This is supposed to be wickedly violent and wickedly graphic, and it intrigues me. But what I've heard about it is that it's not a very good book. It's maybe more just shocking. This was really, really cool. You don't find a lot of like random Kim Stanley Robinsons. I feel like he's one, at least in my area, that I just don't come across very much. It's usually like red Mars, green Mars, in those, you know, thick paperback editions that you've seen 100 times. But I grabbed this Escape from Kathmandu, partially because of the hilarious cover. I mean, what is that? Great little, not quite, it's kind of wraparound art. But then I looked inside when I was going through the books, and it's signed by Kim. It's signed. So that was cool. To Cheryl, Namaste. Kim Stanley Robinson, San Francisco, 1992. So that's a treasure now. That was pretty cool. I found I have had Continuum 2 and 4 previous, and I now have Continuum 1 and 3. So I have all 4 Continuums, which are edited by Roger Elwood, Gene Wolfe. I'm looking on the back here. Pangborn, Chad Oliver, PJF, Dean Koontz. Yeah, I don't know if there's a ton of anything good in here, but some good writers. And I now have all 4 of them. So it's always fun as a completionist collector when you find everything you need for a series or whatever. The 6th Omni Book of Science Fiction, edited by Ellen Datlow. I've never really heard of this one, but I'm familiar enough with Omni that it was it was one of the magazines, more modern magazine. This has Le Guin, William Gibson, the Dogfight by Swanwick and Gibson, Pat Cadigan, Connie Willis, Thomas Dish. Has a cool lineup. That's neat. I hadn't really looked too much into that one until now. Here's the best of Jack Vance with wild cover art. Introduction by Barry Malzberg, so that's cool. Pocketbooks. Vance truly is remarkable. Barry says there on the back. Here's a DAW of the book of Poul Anderson. Yeah, I don't know what's in here. I don't know what's in here. Come on. Oh, stop getting stuck, you dumb page. It's all Poul Anderson stories, and then there's one called Challenge and Response by Sandra Meisel. Wonder if that was published under a pen name from him or something. Yeah. This one was really weird. I love the cover because it's such a weird, like, uncanny cover. The Harlan Ellison Discovery Series, #4, Bruce Sterling, Involution Ocean. Like, what the heck is that? It's just like a naked man in like a water, like, looks like at a water park or something. I don't know. I think most of these, almost every single book in this box that I got from bookstores were between $2 and like $5, save for a couple. And that's what made this box so satisfying to find, because a couple of my big hauls from like Half Price Books and some others, I just found for dirt cheap. Anyway, moving on. This is Cinnabar, Edward Bryant. Jake over at Pulp Mortem just covered this a couple weeks ago. All you have to do is find him with a cinnamon roll on his head. Yeah, this is in nice condition. It's got a fun title. I don't know why Cinnabar, just, it really does feel like a cinnamon roll. There's some sick ones here. The Mind Behind the Eye, Joseph Green, DAW #2. I'm pretty sure I have a copy of this, so this might get passed on in a Whatnot auction or on eBay, but this was even before there's even like a number line. There's nothing there. It just says, it doesn't even say the year. That's cool. Hadn't really looked at that one. Found in this Pinnacle Books Futurian science fiction. Anyway, it's by Pinnacle Books. R.A. Lafferty's Apocalypses. Little wavy. You can't really tell, but it's a little wavy. And it's a first printing 1977. Right? Always a little skeptical when I see it, and I'm like, really? This book's in really good shape. Gosh, that's a cool book. Lafferty is a weirdo, and his books rock. So, yeah, that was cool. Maybe the one that made me gasp audibly the loudest when I saw it on the shelf for $2.50. Tanith Lee's Knight's Master in DAW. She has become just like, I might have the most books by her, aside from Tolkien. Tolkien I have the most books from, in just the various Lord of the Rings editions that I've collected. But I have found so many different Tanith Lees, and it's so cool. This is a first, DAW #313. With, I mean, I'm going to show you the cover art again. I don't know why, but it seems like she just got the sickest cover art every time. And I'm not mad about it. This I don't know anything about, but it looks really cool. So if you know anything about it, and I might do some research after this. This is called Nunquam by Lawrence Durrell. Published by Pocket Books. The bizarre tale of a scientific corporation and its most ambitious undertaking, the creation of a woman. It's either really good or really bad. I can just feel it. Sometimes you just feel it. And of course, there's a cigarette ad in the middle, a staple for that time. Copy of Norstrilia by Cordwainer Smith. I've read it. I've covered it on the channel. It rocks. It's a great book. This is a second printing. All right, we're making our way through. I need to kind of speed this up a little bit because otherwise I'm going to take forever on these paperbacks. I'm talking a lot. Let's get some here. Here's The Trouble with Tycho from Clifford Simak, and Bring Back Yesterday by A. Bertram Chandler. Very vintage ace. Got that for, I think, $4. I haven't taken the tag off this one. This was 10. This is one of the most expensive books I got, but is worth it. Mankind Under the Leash by Thomas Dish, and Planet of Exile by Le Guin in an ace double that is very, very clean, other than one little like smudge at the bottom there. Very clean. And I realize the sun is now hitting right here and probably on the camera, so I'm really hoping that I would suck to end the haul like that, where like the last 40, 50 books or whatever is like this. Anyway, I don't think I can really change much. Oh no, there's like a glare. Oh man, you're not going to be able to see anything. Hi, Sam. We're going to go like this. Let's go. Let's keep churning. Isle of the Dead, Roger Zelazny. Love this cover. Zelazny just rocks. He rocks my socks. The Clewiston Test by Kate Wilhelm in this Timescape. I remember getting a huge swath of Wilhelms. This is a second printing, but all for literally like $1.12. I remember specifically because I was like, that's a weird number for half price books. Robert Silverberg's Gilgamesh the King. He really had kind of a rough go of some cover art there for a while with these like pseudo human, actual humans with weird, it's just I don't know what I'm saying. A weird cover art era for Silverberg. This is the Shockwave Rider by John Brunner. Great cover art. Speaking of Wilhelm, here's a couple more from her. Where Late the Sweet Bird Sang. I have this copy already. I got it from Jonathan over at Stringer, then Fiction. This is a third printing. Sticker on the front, but it's in good shape. That will be passed on to somebody on a Whatnot auction. Roger Zelazny's The Changeling Land. I remember a lot of the Zelazny's were also either $1.12 or like $1.50. So I just got all of them. This is a first. Kate Wilhelm's A Sense of Shadow. I know I have this one already. This will go to somebody else first. Timescape. Listen, Listen. Kate Wilhelm. A Berkeley edition 1984. Cool cover art. Looks like the guy from the robot from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It looks like his head. You know what I mean? Like the spherical head with like, I think he has a green line instead of an orange line, but I need to stop. Science fiction of the year, the best science fiction of the year. Number 9, Terry Carr. This has PKD, Tanith Lee. Great names in here. Alfred Bester. Terry Carr really did get some of the best lineups. And those books are fun to read from. Short plug for my series that I've been doing, speaking of short stories. The Battle of the Shorts comes out every week at 9 o'clock on Saturdays, 9 a.m. Central Time. I go over 4 short stories each week and kind of battle them against each other to see who will win, who's the best short story. So tune into that if you're interested in shorts. But this is Best Science Fiction of the Year, number 12. Poul Anderson, John Varley, Roger Zelazny, Gene Wolfe. Dean Wolfe. Oh, we're getting there. We're almost there, guys. I always say that. I think it's more of a empowerment to myself for just going over all these freaking books. Gary Gygax's The Sea of Death. He's the one who started Dungeons and Dragons. There's some stickers on here, so sorry I didn't pull them off. This is Millennial Women, edited by Virginia Kidd, but it's got a lot of good female science fiction and fantasy writers in here. Let's see. Cynthia Felice, Diana Paxton, Elizabeth Lynn, Cherry Wilder, Joan D. Vinci, and Ursula K. Le Guin. It's a full-length Ursula K. Le Guin novel. That's cool. Vertigo, Bob Shaw. Where No Man Has Trod by Nancy and Francis Dorer. Manor Books. No, I know nothing about this one. Looks very cool. Did I go over those? I didn't. I need to get this stack over here. And we are fully into sun baking territory. I don't want these books to bake. We gotta go. We gotta go. Okay. Joe Haldeman's War Year. We're speed running the end of this. Samuel R. Delaney's Stars in My Pocket Like Grains of Sand. I've read Samuel R. Delaney's Nova. It's great. You should read it too. This stack is getting dangerously tall. Dear God. We are going to pivot here and try to get these to stack a little bit easier. Oh, please. Wonder if you guys can hear those birds above me. They are loud. They are very loud. Okay, a little better. Robert A. Heinlein's The Moon is a Harsh Mistress in this Berkeley. Got it for $2 from Goodwill. Love to see it. Oh, that was a thrift find. I forgot to put that in the thrift pile. All right. Tim Powers, Forsake the Sky. I don't know anything about Tim Powers really, but yeah. PJF and J.H. Rosny, Iron Castle in the Daw. Is that... I can show that. I don't know anything about this, but interesting. J.H. Rosny was a contemporary of Vern Wells and Edgar Rice Burroughs. PJF chronicles the adventures of Tarzan and Doc Savage. Chronicler. Translated and retold Rosny's novel. That's interesting. I need to look that up. The Embedding, Ian Watson. I read Ian Watson actually for Battle of the Shorts a couple weeks ago. He was okay. Titan by John Varley with the cool, really cool cover where you open it up and it's just this vibrant artwork. Boring cover, vibrant inside page. Love that. Roger Zelazny's Road Marks. Universe 11, Terry Carr. This has Kim Stanley Robinson, Ian Watson, Michael Swanwick, William Gibson, Michael Bishop. Oh, we gotta go. I feel the sun baking my books. Oh, gosh. The Eyes of Darkness. I found this in my last haul, I think, by Lee Nichols. Got another copy. Jerry Purnell's A Spaceship for the King. Somebody spilled coffee on that one. Number 42. Dawn number 42. Earthworks, great cover. Brian Aldiss. You've seen this one before, I'm positive. Doris Pacercius, Spaceling, great cover art in the Daw. Daw number 338. Hope these are in focus. After I moved, I'm just kind of like trying to get away from the sun. I think this might be valuable. I'm not 100% sure, but this is called The Bridge from D. Keith Mano. If you know anything about this, tell me. This one is a first, Signet Printing. I looked it up, I think briefly, and I remember being like, that might be worth something. I found Chrysalis and Chrysalis 6, which are edited by Roy Torgerson. It's got Ellison, Lafferty, Charles L. Grant, Malsberg, some really cool names in here. I need to look through these a little bit. Oh, I'm out of room in that stack. Okay. Islands in the Net, Bruce Sterling. Classic cyberpunk. The Darkling Wind by Somtau. I'm not going to try to pronounce that and make a fool of myself. It's got to be, I don't know who that is. F. Paul Wilson's The Terry. Wonder which one of those guys is Terry. Oh, the sun. Just keep looking over at my books. Kate Wilhelm's Juniper Time. I have a copy of this. I think I have 2 copies of this. I need to sell that one. Somtau again with, this cover art is awesome. There's a guy flying what looks to be a stingray with rainbows. Look at that. Utopia Hunters. What is that? That's so freaking cool. A couple more paperbacks, a couple hardbacks, and then we will wrap up. And I will take my books back to safety. SF Best of the Best by Judith Merrill. This has Ballard. This has Damon Knight, Isaac Asimov, just a ton of good names. Sturgeon, Fritz Leiber, Aldous. Second Nature by Cherry Wilder. Love this cover. Timescape. Really neat. Beautiful book. Roger Zelazny's Mad Wand. Great cover. Samuel R. Delaney's The Ballad of Beta 2 and Empire Star. Like a double, kind of, without being a double. All right. Almost finished. This is William Gibson and Bruce Sterling's The Difference Engine. There are the two men there in a first edition hardback. This is something I was very excited to find. Oh, come on. Get off the bottom there. 3 more. A identical copy of Idoru from William Gibson to what I found earlier. First edition. I think I got this one for $7, and then a week later I found a thrifted copy for like $3. This is Space Odyssey that includes Silverberg, Vonnegut, Arthur C. Clarke. Lots of famous stories in here. Cool anthology that I got. I think that was like $3 or $4. And then we'll finish it off with what was one of the coolest finds that I got. Barry N. Malsberg's Down Here in the Dream Quarter, a collection of his short stories. I just covered Barry, I just covered Barry in Battle of the Shorts with his short story Leviticus in the Ark, which is in here. And as you can see, there's lots of other ones in there. I'm bummed that I didn't have this before I came up with my list of short stories, because otherwise something on here would have been in there. Maybe other than Leviticus in the Ark. It's the first time I found his short story collections, and he is just so expensive to find and buy online that this was $3. I loved finding that for $3. But anyway, I'm going to get my books out of the sun and back inside. And I just appreciate you guys watching. If you've made it this far in the haul, you rock. And I appreciate you. If you made it 10 minutes into the haul, I appreciate you. But yeah, for those of you that can hear this, thank you, thank you, thank you. These book hauls are always so much fun. And with that, I hope you're doing well. Take care of yourself. Keep reading, and I'll see you in the next video.